It's Cageside with John Morgan.
And welcome everybody back to another episode of Cageside with John Morgan. I'm your host, Eric McMahon. We have still yet to have a UFC event in 2026. We are still a week and a half-ish away from UFC 324, and I just can't wait. But luckily, we do have some things to talk about. We have RAF, Real American Freestyle. We have Real American Freestyle to talk about. This is a great thing for the wrestling thing. And then we can preview and get into a little bit about 324. To help break this all down, I'm going to bring in the man. His name is on the marquee. You can follow him on X, John Morgan _MMA. What's up, brother?
What's going on, man? Yeah, it's the off season is nearly over, right? When it comes to UFC and MMA, man. So I feel like we're there. We're like a week away. You know, first it was a month, and there were all the holidays that keep us busy. But I feel like we're almost there. So I'm excited about that. You know how excited I am to see this whole Paramount, right? I'm telling you, ready to get this Paramount era underway. But yeah, how cool is it that wrestling took center stage? I want to get into that for sure. I'm glad you wanted to talk about that because I was tuned in. I like what Real American Freestyle is doing. But let's not bury the lead too. I mean, this is the international edition of the show. Yeah. I mean, let's peel back the curtain a little bit. It's not just a normal week here in Memphis, Tennessee. Yeah,
peel back the curtain. See that, but yeah.
My man's coming to us from Germany, man. So thank you for making some time for us this week as you make your tour across Europe. Pretty cool what you guys are doing over there.
Yeah, here in Berlin, Germany, here in the NBA Global Games, the Memphis Grizzlies are playing the Orlando Magic here in Germany, and then we're going to hop on the plane and we're going to fly to London, play them again in London. They are regular season games, so they're not preseason or exhibition. They're legit regular season games. And, but just kind of like a really hard week and month for that matter. We had 4 home games this week alone. So we had a game on Tuesday, home game on Tuesday, home game on Wednesday, home game on Friday, home game on Sunday, straight from the game on Sunday, straight to the charter, hop on the charter, fly over the Atlantic through the night, land here in Berlin, Germany today. And now I'm back with all you fine people.
I love it, man. Hey, you want to stay busy. I feel for your wife back at home, though. I know that she's got to play single mom while you're away from home. So hopefully, you have a great time over there and you put the work in. Hopefully, the players stand up to the travel and that schedule. We have some great games. But yeah, so thoughts to your wife because I know what that's like when you leave the family at home and let them play single mom. 3
kids, 6 and under, with a mom for 8 days. 8 days, and. But it's crazy. Like, I'm going to get on my dad's soapbox here, right?
Yep.
Because leading up to this, everybody's like, oh, I feel sorry for your wife. I feel sorry for your wife. I'm like, I would rather trade places with my wife. I hate being away from my family. I hate being away from my kids. Like this, I can promise you, this is harder on us dads having to be away from our families for so long to provide an income from it. I would much rather take the aggravation. Now, I am blessed to do a job that I love, but it's still hard to be away from your family.
It changes everything. It really does. I think I've learned that in growing up over time. Obviously when I was on the road 35 weeks a year or so for the UFC, covering the events, it was awesome when I was single. And then when you get married, it's, okay, well, it's a couple days apart. No big deal. Absence makes the heart grow fonder. We'll have a great time when you get back. But the family really does change everything. I've had conversations like this with other dads. Like, man, when you're away from home for a week and you come back and your kid is saying something new or acting differently, or doing something they weren't doing when you left, like, I don't know, it hits you. You feel like you missed something. You know what I mean? So I'm feeling with you. I know as somebody who understands that life, because I know it sounds to a lot of people probably like, oh, you're complaining about being in Germany and London, like, oh, tough life there, Eric, man. Wow, how do you get through the day? And it is true. So you always kind of keep my mouth shut because you're right. It's like, yeah, that does sound kind of weird, doesn't it? But yeah, that family time, man, you can't replace it. So hopefully, just want to send some love to the missus over there. That she
10 years ago, 10 years ago, I'd be on top of the world. Now, listen, this is great. Like, I'm in a better position than a lot of people. Not complaining. Yep. I just love being with my family. That's all. But with that being said, I gotta before we get into anything, then on Saturday night, so game on Friday night, game on Sunday, but on Saturday night, we held the first ever Ferguson Invitational for my good friend, my partner, David Ferguson. We held a fight show honoring all the proceeds. We raised $29,000 going to the Sina Magowitz Foundation, and then they're one of the leading organizations for pancreatic cancer. And David Ferguson, for all of you who don't know, he was my business partner. He was a pioneer in the world of mixed martial arts, and he died of pancreatic cancer, so it was all in his name. And the main event, Alan the Talent Belcher.
What?
Boxing match. Alan Belcher. I wrestled.
That is awesome. That's a legend of the game right there.
Yeah, and he came in and donated his purse back to the foundation.
Are you serious?
Yeah,
wow.
And so this is a great story. I had never heard this before. I knew that David and Alan were great friends. They were very, very close friends. And the friendship originally started, and this is how Alan started, how he idolized David. David was the main event of the first ever MMA fight Alan Belcher ever saw.
Wow. That's amazing. What a full circle moment that is.
He said it was down somewhere in Louisiana, and Alan Belcher, he told this whole story after his main event. Alan Belcher, his dad took him to a MMA fight show, and he was not old enough to get in because this was like back in bars in the day, remember?
Right.
So his dad snuck him in the back door, and they watched through a door, and he watched David fight. And he said that in Dave's post-fight interview, he said something that changed his life forever. And he said, you guys all think this is crazy now. This sport is the future. And he said that, and Alan said that hit him, and he had been a lifelong fan after watching Dave's interview, and then they became close friends through Alan's UFC venture. And he came back and he donated his purse, he donated his time, all on his own dime. His travel was on himself, everything.
That's class, man. I love to hear that, man. Alan Belcher, of course, a longtime UFC vet. He's jacked now, right? Like he's big. Boy, is heavyweight now, like putting on the
He's a heavyweight.
Yeah, man, doing some bare knuckle boxing along the way, I know as well. So that's cool, man. That's an awesome story. I've always liked. Yeah, I've always liked Alan as a person, man. He's a good dude, and to hear that, man, that just brings my opinion of him to an even higher level, man. That's incredible.
Yeah, so it was a great event, but now let's get on to Real American Freestyle.
Yeah.
I had been hearing about this, right? And I've been seeing a little bit, and it just like in the last few weeks, I think the media has now caught on to it, right? And it's exploded. There are a lot of takeaways out of this past weekend. I mean, Yoel Romero, I want to start with him because he has been throttling through Real American Freestyle as of late. He did take a loss this week, but I mean, this guy is in his upper 40s.
Yeah. He's like 48 years old out there going against the reigning NCAA champ, who, by the way, there was a little bit of a switch up in matchups, but he ends up going against Stephen Buchanan, who I actually got to call a couple of Stephen Buchanan's matches as part of CFFC Match Day on UFC Fight Pass. And dude, his athleticism is off the charts. I mean, he stood out and obviously goes and wins the NCAA title. So yeah, for Yoel to even be in there is incredible to see.
Yeah. And what Yoel Romero done in the past couple events, I mean, absolutely freakish, remarkable. Before we even get into the event, though, I think one of the most unexpected but classic altercations in a press conference happens. Bo Nickel is sitting in the audience. Colby Covington, who is main eventing the Real American Freestyle event, versus Luke Rockhold, going up in weight against a much bigger Luke Rockhold. Colby and Bo start getting into it. And who comes and takes Colby's back and piles on Bo Nickel? None other than the other heel. There's three heels in this situation. This is what is the most funniest about it. Bo Nickel, whether he wants to admit it or not, he's a heel. He's a heel. Colby Covington, he cherishes being a heel. Luke Rockhold, just by the nature of like the modeling, the skateboarding, the surfing, the great looks, the jiu-jitsu world champion, the UFC champion, could you have any more attributes, you SOB? He is a heel. And with the complete arrogance that he walks with is a heel, right? So we have 3 heels, 3 major heels. 2 of them, Bo and Colby, are getting into it. And then, not to be outdone, Luke Rockhold chimes in. I thought it was one of the greatest things I have ever seen. And I feel sorry for Bo Nickel because Bo got bullied. The bully, Bo Nickel, got bullied by 2 more seasoned bullies.
It was pretty wild to see. And you're right, man. You talk about it kind of catching on right now. I think this was the most attention that has been paid to a Real American Freestyle event yet. I mean, I know that MMA Fighting, MMA Junkie, both actually had, reporters there on site covering it. And I think the fact that, we haven't had a UFC in several weeks helped for that, right? They're looking for things to cover. They're looking for content that they can have. And you had a lot of big names here, right? Like RAF understands we can use these MMA ties to help get some attention to our sport. A sport that, you and I both believe wrestling has been kind of underserved and undervalued at times, and they're getting it on this big platform. So for all that to come together and these to turn on Bo Nickel, and it's making headlines throughout the sport of mixed martial arts, was pretty funny to see and pretty incredible to see Colby and Luke, who are about to go compete against each other, but are teaming up to go against Bo Nickel. But I'm going to tell you what right now, I like the fact that I think Bo Nickel is now kind of embracing it a little bit, right? Like, as you said, I think he was a very reluctant heel, right? I mean, he's so well loved and respected and revered in the wrestling community. I think that he thought he was going to come in and kind of just get that same kind of treatment in the mixed martial arts community. Well, it didn't quite work like that for him. But I love the fact that now he's just kind of embracing it. He did during the broadcast, he did an interview with Chael Sonnen, and they brought him up there because he didn't end up competing, right? For anybody that didn't see, he was supposed to go against Yoel Romero. Yoel missed weight. There was a lot of discussion over, did the weigh-in times get moved? What was all this stuff happened? But, basically Bo says, look, you missed weight by 7 pounds. I'm not going against you. Sorry, man. You didn't do what you were supposed to do. And of course, people kind of piled on him for that. And he's well within his right. If you miss weight, you're well within your right to say, I'm not competing. But I think a lot of people even got frustrated at that and felt like maybe he was ducking Yoel Romero a little bit or whatever. But I love it because people started booing and he just stood up there and he almost gave him a little Hulk Hogan, hey, let's hear it. Bring it on, man. Let me get more of that. Let me hear those moves. So I like the fact that Bo is kind of embracing that kind of heel persona. And I hope that'll continue over into his UFC run because I think it's interesting if he just embraces that and runs with it.
Yeah. I mean, I agree. Listen, I think a guy with the pedigree and the acumen that Bo Nickel has, I still said even after his last loss, I said, listen, the future is so bright for this guy. Yep. But he did get moderately, I'm not even going to say exposed, but outclassed. The levels in mixed martial arts were apparent in that fight. And so against the Dutch kickboxer, as Colby said, and then more eloquently after the fact, I said, I'm sorry, you got out grappled by a grappler. But with that being said, I felt myself thinking as this is going on, Bo Nickel is now calling out Colby Covington, which is easy to do, right? You're a clown, you're this, you're that. Colby, you're walking into it. You are walking into what he wants, especially when the pedigrees are here in the sport that dominates, right? Colby has, whether you like him or not, he has accomplished way more than Bo Nickel has. I think Bo Nickel ceiling is higher than Colby's is, though, right?
I would agree.
And so I understand the bravado of doing that, but it's maybe hey, listen, until you have a marquee win or until you have that breakthrough moment, maybe poking that bear at that time at that venue might not have been the wisest choice to do. But he's a dog, man. The dog lives in it and probably just couldn't help it. But the fact that Colby Covington literally almost said all the right things, that Luke Rockhold was like, you know what, Colby? You are right. F this guy. That's what I just found hysterical.
It's so funny. All the things you said are correct. I mean, look, Bo and Colby would be a competitive matchup. It's not out of the realm of possibility that, because for Colby at this point in his career, I don't think the championship level performances are there. Like, I don't think he's a number one contender.
And I would actually, right now, I would pick Bo Nickel over Colby Covington.
Yeah, I would too. Now, I mean, obviously, it'd be Colby moving up weight classes, but I feel like that's a kind of matchup that Colby would feel that he could move weight classes for, right?
He says he wants to move weight classes. So
yeah, and we wouldn't be overly concerned with Bo's overall game. Obviously, Bo's striking is still very much developing, and he's very much a wrestling based athlete at this time. So I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility that this could go somewhere. But it was pretty funny to see him get absolutely just teamed up on by two opponents that are supposed to be going against each other, instead turn their hatred on Bo Nickel. So it was a fun little storyline to follow over the weekend. And I'm with you. Like, I think the Bo Nickel hate has now gotten to this point now where people aren't being realistic about how good he is and about how high the ceiling is. I think they're letting the personal emotions get in the way and saying that, like, this guy's terrible, he's not going to be anything. He's still very, very early in his career, and he's an incredible A+ athlete, A+ commitment, A+ drive. He's got all the building blocks there. Now, that doesn't mean that he'll necessarily succeed, but I think people that are ready to just write him off because he lost against a far more experienced, far more developed fighter in Rainer Ritter and just saying that he's not going to amount to anything, I think they're making a mistake there. I do think the ceiling is still high for Bo Nickel.
It is tremendously high, and he has one intangible that is going to make him a force in this sport for a very long time. He is a competitor that most of us, at a level that most of us cannot comprehend. I mean, right out of Penn State, he's taken wrestling / jiu-jitsu matches against Gordon Ryan. That's how much of a competitor this guy is. And so I still believe, I mean, I'm a big Bo Nickel guy. I've praised him a lot in this. I even said he's a bad matchup for Chimaev. I walk that back now, right, by the way. But I did say that at one point. But he's just a competitor. And so his ceiling is so high. Now, just to recap that Real American Freestyle, Colby did come out. He tech falls Luke Rockhold. I don't think that's unexpected. I give Luke Rockhold a ton of credit going into a world that is not his. If this was a jiu-jitsu match, he would smoke Colby Covington.
Yes.
But it's not. It's not a jiu-jitsu match.
Right.
It was wrestling. No submissions. No nothing.
Agreed. And you could almost see the frustration because it's not like he was getting dominated. They never really got to engage because of the rules of freestyle wrestling, obviously, right? Like Colby knew exactly what he was doing. He was racking up the points. You could just see the frustration on Luke's face. But I do give him credit for being willing to step out there and say, hey, this is not necessarily my area of expertise. But I want to compete and I want to, I'm a game athlete and let's go at it. But yeah, not an unexpected result there in the main event.
No. I mean, and just fun. And I love that they're putting production behind wrestling. This is the one question that I have in my notes, right? And I think this is fun right now. My question is does it have legs though? Does it have staying power? Because where I look at all the sports, but let's just take MMA, for example. There's always the next, right? And so right now what Real American, it's very hard to produce wrestling stars. So what Real American Freestyle is doing is taking stars that were already made and plugging them in. And then, is that NCAA champion? We might know who he is, but the masses don't because it's just not covered and followed like it is. So is there an avenue to build a star with that has a promotion like that have staying power? That's the one question that I just can't answer. I hope so. I mean, I wouldn't bet on it though. Like, that's just what I'm saying.
It's tough. It's a real challenge. Like, I don't know what their finances are. I mean, obviously, they're putting a lot of money into the production of it, right? I mean, it's a good looking event, right? The platform, the stage that they utilize, it looks good. All the camera angles and the production that they're working on that looks nice. Look like they had a pretty decent crowd there on hand too. You know what I mean? So, is there a positive cash flow right now? I mean, if we're just looking at it as a business, are they profitable right now? I don't know. And to be honest, I don't even know what they're having to pay these athletes. That's going to be a big part of it as well. And I do think they are doing a good job, right? Like you said it, of let's take these names. I mean, there could be some people that are frustrated, like, hey, why are Colby Covington and Luke Rockhold in the main event when we've got guys like Kyle Dake on the card? Why isn't he in the main event? But that's just smart. And I think the wrestlers understand that. Like, hey, even if I'm the more accomplished wrestler, it behooves me to take a little back seat to these MMA stars that are going to bring eyeballs.
By the way, so he did get a pretty high billing. He is an Olympian, world champion, American trials winner.
But and again, so it's not like they disrespected him. But if you wanted to, you could be like, "Hey, wait a minute! Like, I'm the Olympic champion. Why am I behind these, MMA stars?" But I think that everybody involved realizes, "Hey, this is for our best interest here to take a little bit." So I think they're doing a really good job of blending it all together, mixing it to get that attention. Now, if this event RAF 5 is happening on January 24th, the same night that the UFC schedule is coming back, does it get near the attention from the media? No. I think this was the perfect confluence of events, that there's no MMA right now, and so that the world was kind of paying attention to this. So to your point, will the lasting power be there even for the media to cover it, even for them to bring attention? I hope so. I don't necessarily see it happening that way. I think it's going to be a challenge for them. So, and how long does the UFC decide that they're okay with letting their athletes go over there? You know what I mean?
That was my next question. Jump the shark on me.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, how long do they keep saying, yeah, we're fine with this? I mean, you had Arman Tsarukyan going. By the way, how damn good did Arman Tsarukyan look in just absolutely running through Lance Palmer? I mean, I know it's not an MMA contest, but oh my gosh, did he look good? And Lance Palmer is a stud wrestler, an accomplished grappler. So yeah, but how long does the UFC now? Look, there's less opportunity for athletes to get injured than there is in like an MMA fight, of course, but there's still not no risk whatsoever. In fact, as you well know,
beat the shit out of each other all the time in a wrestling match. Maybe not overtly, but it is a vicious sport.
Oh, they absolutely do. And most injuries in training happen during grappling series, not during, it's not like a knockout or something that happens in practice. So anyway, how long are they okay with that? And I mean, look, maybe the UFC decides they want to get involved in this. Maybe they say, you know what, we actually kind of do like this. Maybe we want to see this on Fight Pass. I don't know. But if they have
the avenue, truth be told, because
I do too.
By the exclusive contract, no competition contract that all their fighters have, but yet this is kind of like we're gonna tip our cap to that, and I almost look at it from a business perspective, right? And I think this is maybe what the UFC is doing. TKO is saying, build your infrastructure, build it. And then when we're ready, but we'll give you the tools to help you build your infrastructure. We're not just going to spend our money on it now. We're going to see what you guys do with it, and then we could, and everybody wins. And I hope that happens.
I absolutely do. I had that exact same thought over the weekend, is that I hope that's the direction that this goes. Now, I don't know if the folks behind Real American Freestyle, feel that same way, or maybe they believe, hey, we've got enough legs on this thing. We don't need to be part of that TKO industry over there. We can handle it on our own. And if they can, great. But I would love to see it come in there. I mean, we see the development that's going on with UFC, BJJ. Why not bring another great combat sport? And you could see how much these athletes, the wrestling background. I mean, why is a guy like Yoel Romero there? Why is a guy, like Arman Tsarukyan? They love the competition, and this is something that they can do even when they don't have a fight book. So I would like to see that happen as well. I don't know if the RAF people are quite as hopeful to just be another kind of cog in the machine, so to speak, and not be their own standout entity. But this just seems like it has a nice place to fit underneath that TKO banner.
And to my earlier point of, are we going to be building stars that aren't already stars? Like, that's where I think the struggle is in this organization. But I would say in this brief UFC BJJ remake that they've had, they're doing exactly that.
Right.
They're building grappling stars. Now, yeah, we already knew who Mikey Musumeci was. We already knew kind of like some of those players. But, these other kids coming up right now, and it's going to be a dumb thing. I'm saying they're building stars. But the two grappling brothers from Austin, I
Tackett brothers.
Tackett, they're building stars with these guys, right? These guys are studs. And that's what they're doing. So I think if it does get into that TKO fold, man, that probably solves that problem.
I'd like to see it happen. And I think if that is, I mean, there's no way that TKO isn't aware of it, right? I mean, there's so many of their athletes being featured on it. Like, I don't know if Dana White has actually watched the product, but obviously they have to be aware that it's happening because their athletes are involved in it. So they got to at least be taking a look at it. And I like the idea. Again, we don't know if that's the play, but I think that would be smart. Like, hey, let them go invest their money. Let them go spend their money. Let them go figure everything out. We'll see if it's got legs or not, if we feel if it could work. And if it does, let's bring them in there. So I don't know. I'd like to see it stick around. Obviously we got to do a little bit of collegiate wrestling with CFFC Match Day on Fight Pass. And I really, really enjoyed it, man. I think it's such a fun sport. Obviously we know the values that it has in terms of as a mixed martial arts component and as far as just a life component as well, the work ethic that wrestling requires of you. So I love it. I enjoy the fact that we got to feature it on Fight Pass for a while, and I'd love to see it come back, whether it be in the form of, something NCAA related or whether it be in the terms of something like this. I think it's a great sport, and I'd love to see it featured on Fight Pass. So we'll see. We'll see what the future holds. If you haven't checked it out, though, it is worth it. I will say it's a bit of a challenge to find it. It's because it's not just on Fox, right? It's on Fox Nation, which is like that's even an additional subscription in addition to, if you're using the apps and sort of things. So you have to upgrade a little bit. So it's a little challenging. Even once I was logged in and paid, I still struggled to find it a little bit within the app. It's not quite as front and center maybe as you might hope that it would be. So, I don't know if that's a long-term partnership there or not, but if you get a chance and it crosses your plate and there's another event that's on the horizon, I will say it's worth checking out. I think they're doing a good job. And again, they're doing a good job of bringing in these names that are fun. And I think everybody's embracing kind of the promotion side of it. Bo Bassett, the young kid in there, the young phenom, he's calling out Henry Cejudo. You got Cejudo up there. I've been doing, King of Cringe type stuff. And I think everybody's just kind of embracing it.
But here's the thing. And this is my next question, right? I had all these kind of questions and the financial aspect, right? Like, so guys that are wrestlers they have always done it for the love of wrestling because there hasn't been money in it. And I'm going to venture to say there's not money in it yet. Okay. Even with this, but yet these guys like Colby, these guys like Yoel, these guys like, Bo Nickel or whoever, I'm not even going to put Luke Rockhold as a wrestler, but he did this. My question is like, I wonder, I doubt, I would find it hard to believe that a guy like Colby Covington would come in and say, you need to pay me my rate for me to do this. I'm almost thinking that they're going to say like, this is what built us, that we're going to do it on the very low end cheap to help build this sport. So one day, I think that that's the type of culture that wrestling does breed, that those guys are doing it for that. But I don't know. That's just my hope and my wish. And I think I'm right if I were to guess.
Yeah, I would agree because what type of salary. I mean, obviously they're not going to command anything close to what they would for a mixed martial arts contest,
right.
But, obviously the risk that you're taking and the strain that you're putting on your body is a lot less, and the mental strain and all those things. So I would imagine you're correct. I have not seen purses for these events. Obviously they're going to want to get paid something for their time. I doubt many people are going to just be like, hey, I'm giving back to the love of the game completely. It's going to be at least, cover my travel expenses, cover this, et cetera, and let me walk away with a little bit of money in my pocket. But I do think you're right, because I think that especially anybody that came through that background. I mean, what does Henry Cejudo command, as a pay rate, but he's willing to come in there and say, hey, I'll be a part of this. Cejudo and Faber, I don't think they're, I need a 6-figure salary to come in and do this thing. I think they all realize, like you said, we came from this community. If there's something we can do to help build it up, I need to make some money, but I'm not going to charge you full rate for what we're doing. So I would guess that you're absolutely right about that. And it's good to see if that is the case. I like the fact that they're trying to help this thing succeed.
Yeah, that's awesome. Let's get into it. UFC 324, 2 weeks, week and a half, whenever you're listening to this. I'm itching to watch a UFC mixed martial arts fight. I find myself, I'm going to start with the co-main event right now.
Yeah.
That has now, once I've been thinking about this, I always kind of just put it to the side. Like, I think Kayla's going to run through her. the more and more I started thinking about this card, I kept on coming back to that fight and saying, this may be the most intriguing matchup on the entire card. That is a juggernaut of a card. That is a monumental card. And this may be the most intriguing matchup from a standpoint of, I don't really know. I thought I knew, and then I started really deep diving, thinking about it. I think in that year and a half, I forgot who Amanda Nunes was for a little bit.
No, it's interesting. Well, number one, I do believe it is the most intriguing matchup on the card. I mean, no offense to Justin Gaethje and Paddy Pimblett. Great fight, of course. Justin Gaethje, as fun as it gets. I mean, every time he's in there, you know you're in for something special. Paddy Pimblett, the promotion, the hype that he can bring to an event is amazing. The walk-in's amazing. And, oh, by the way, he's a pretty damn good fighter, too, whether you want to give him credit or not. So I love that. And as you said, the whole card is stacked. We'll be breaking down individual fights. But Kayla Harrison, the pound-for-pound number one right now, against Amanda Nunes, the GOAT, former training partners that have been in there together, that were both at American Top Team, and now they're going to go head-to-head to determine who's the greatest of all time. I mean, stakes just don't get higher than that. Storylines don't get deeper than that. You know, fortunately, this is not going to evolve into it. Kayla Harrison always said, I'm never going to let this turn into like a Colby Covington, Jorge Masvidal type situation where an impending fight means that friendships were buried and torn apart in favor of fight promotion. I'm not going to do that. But she's always said, I know what Amanda has accomplished. I just believe I have what it takes to beat her, and I want what she has. I want to be known as the GOAT. So from that perspective, this to me is absolutely the most intriguing fight on the card, and I am pumped up for it. But as far as the breakdown goes, it is challenging, man, because I'm of the mind of you. Or of your initial mind, I guess I should say, because I felt from the time this was announced that I'm happy that it's happening, but I just believe that Kayla Harrison is right now. Amanda has taken a little bit too much time off. Amanda has been away for a little bit. She's gotten a few years up there, and this is going to be very challenging. But I'll tell you what, man, I have conversations with people that are so entrenched on the other side that think I'm absolutely crazy, that are just like, no, Amanda Nunes is a different level athlete, and you're forgetting about that, and she is going to destroy Kayla Harrison. I haven't shifted over to that. I'm still firmly in Team Kayla. Maybe a part of that has to do with my personal affinity for her as a human being as well, that I just think she's a great fighter. But I do agree that if she does not get this thing to the ground early and often, it is dangerous while she's standing on the feet.
I am going to acknowledge that Kayla Harrison was better at grappling, whether that be in the clinch or takedown, judo, all the above, than Ronda Rousey. I'm going to acknowledge that. And I think everybody acknowledges that.
Yes.
Ronda didn't even come close to touching her.
Right.
Amanda. Okay. Now, I do think Kayla's gonna get there. At what cost? That's where this lies for me. We have not seen Kayla Harrison take big shots.
Right.
Name me a fight that in her oh gosh, I'm facing the name, in her only professional, Amanda
Larissa Pacheco.
Yeah.
Yep.
In that loss, she gassed. She got exhausted. She couldn't finish it on the ground in the first round and a half. She got exhausted, and then eventually just the snowball ran downhill on her. Okay? She still didn't take massive, big shots. That Amanda Nunes is capable of hitting you when you're coming in. If you're going to tell me that you think that Amanda Nunes is not going to snipe her down the middle when Kayla Harrison is coming at her, because Kayla Harrison isn't shooting a blast double from the middle of the cage. That's not going to happen. She needs to come into the top. She needs to come into the clinch. And so I always look at it, and I think I do look at breaking down fights a little bit different than most people, like with the risk reward of stuff, not just where the strengths lie. Like, right. Yeah, once it gets here, it's academic. It probably will get there, right? But at what cost do you have to do this? So I'm looking at it from a perspective. If she does get close, is she going to eat 3? Now, is that strength going to translate in the clinch after you ate 3 big shots coming in? That's A. B, because you're worried about the 3 big shots coming in, does that mean you're not going to be Kayla Harrison getting to that clinch? It is a very intriguing standpoint from there. And that's all in the first round and a half. I think if this goes more than a round and a half, it's Amanda Nunes all day long. That's my personal opinion. So I think that there's so much more to really think about other than the obvious. She can't compete with her on the ground, and once she gets her hands on her, I just don't look at like that has to be playing in Kayla's mind. Now she might be crazy enough to just be like, I'm walking through it. And I think she's physically capable of doing it, but at what cost?
It's interesting. I mean, and I always look at things as well, like all the outside influences, right? Like, why did Amanda Nunes leave American Top Team, right? When she knew Kayla Harrison was on the rise. I wonder what happened in those training sessions or what happened in the gym that led her to say, you know what, I'm just going to kind of go on and do this thing on my own right now, and I'll bring my own training partners to me at this point. I wonder, is there something there? Is there a mentality or is there a history that's something that we don't know? But from a pure tactical X's and O's standpoint, you are spot on about that. And, as usual, your technical analysis is sound, and I agree. And I think that if Kayla Harrison, my imagination would be that you don't want to let yourself set up and hesitate. Like, you can't hesitate. You can't. Again, everybody knows what's coming. And so sometimes we think, okay, well, if everybody knows what's coming, I got to throw in a little wrinkle. So, I got to make her think I want to kickbox, and I got to make her think I want to strike. But I don't think you want to do that, right? I think you just play to your strengths and say, dude, you know it's coming, but I just believe that what I have coming towards you is so good, you can't stop it, and I'm going to go prove to you that you can. And you just got to kind of, I don't want to say bull rush because that makes it sound like there's no technique and you're just, Brock Lesnar rushing forward, power from across the way. But I don't think you want to, because you are right. Amanda Nunes, look, it's been 2.5 years since we've seen her. She is 37, but she's only a couple years. It's not like she's 45 or something. You know what I mean? She's 37. She's only a couple years older than Kayla. And
Kayla has no spring chicken either. So
exactly right. But and she does look to be.
It probably has more miles on her than Nunes.
I would agree too, right? Because when you talk about 2 Olympic cycles and years of high-level international competition, her body probably does have more miles on it. But, man, she is just an absolute specimen of a human being. I mean, she is such an incredible athlete, Kayla Harrison. So I am intrigued by this. From the moment this first got announced, I felt like Kayla Harrison is the proper pick. But I will have to acknowledge that as we get closer and closer, I'm still staying on that bandwagon. But the danger that Amanda Nunes presents is palpable, and it's real. And if she can't get the fight to the ground early, it could be bad, because Amanda Nunes has the ability to light up anyone, right? I don't think she's lost that in the time away. I don't think she's lost that power. So this is an intriguing match. And again, just the stakes here. I mean, this is 2 of the all-time GOATs going at it in the women's division. It's 2 of the potentially best ever. You know what I mean? So the stakes, all right. So no disrespect to anything else on the card. Some great fights. But I do agree with you, man. This is the one I am most fired up about, man. I really, really am. I can't wait for this fight.
Yeah, and I go back to also like Kayla Harrison is always what I don't care what weight class she's fighting at. She's gonna have the size advantage. Mm-hmm. I don't care if it's at the heavier or the lighter weight class. She's gonna be the bigger girl. But when she ran into a really big female in Pachenko, that was a different ballgame too. Because did you see the training picture of all the girls? And it might have been something with breast cancer awareness. They were wearing the pink bikinis, and they took the picture in the gym. And Alyssa is a big girl, girl. Amanda Nunes ain't too much smaller than her.
No.
Amanda Nunes is a big girl. So yes, Kayla Harris is going to have a size advantage. So, but the one time that her size advantage was moderate, it was the loss.
Yeah,
and I'm not going to play into it or not, but I'm just saying, like, sometimes that physical overwhelmingness, she just physically overwhelmed Holly Holm. She just physically overwhelmed, Juliana Pena. She's physically overwhelmed everybody. And people are also going to make the comparison, well, why didn't Holly Holmes just throw down the pipe and knock her out like you think that Amanda Nunes? Because Holly Holmes is a much more patient fighter in that regard too. which I always said that was dangerous because she cannot be patient in this fight.
Correct.
Like she has historically over the second half of her career. I don't think Amanda's going to do that. I think Amanda is just throwing nothing but straight punches, and we're going to see what happens and at what cost. I do agree with you, though. Kayla is still the betting favorite in my mind. I don't bet, but if I did, I would still be picking her. I just think it's a lot closer, and there's so much more probability. There's so much more plausibility that Amanda Nunes gets this done than people think.
As we talk it down and break it down. I mean, I'm having a hard time not agreeing with you there. I am a huge fan of Kayla Harrison. The Larissa Pacheco thing, I'll say, it is tough to beat somebody 3 times. And where was her motivation at that point? You know what I mean? It was kind of like already looking towards the UFC a little bit, and the PFL, you had done everything.
And through the rigors 3 years in a row. I got all that. Right?
So I do think that is all worth factoring in as well and mentioning the discussion. But you are right. And I'll tell you what, man. I mean, honestly, from a fan perspective, I kind of hope we see some Kayla, for her to go in and get like an immediate takedown, and Amanda Nunes is on her back, and you're like, all right. I mean, that'd be great for Kayla Harrison. Obviously, you don't get paid by the hour in there, so the faster you can get in and out, the better. But it would be kind of cool, right, to see her get touched up a little bit, wobbled a little bit, tested a little bit, and see, can she survive, and that tension in that moment.
We haven't seen it yet. That's the whole point. We have not seen her take that big shot, and Amanda hits big and hard.
Big time, man. She can make some problems. And you're right. If you're Amanda Nunes, right? Like, I mean, I would imagine, obviously she's been around the game for a long time. I imagine your whole, camp is basically like, we're just sprawling and brawling, right? Like, never get set, always be a moving target and always be ready to defend and strike and defend and strike. Don't be accepting of any positions, right? Because we see that sometimes. You see that sometimes with athletes, like they'll get taken down and you can almost see them accept it. And I think sometimes that's a byproduct of working too much guard, working too much grappling, that you get there and you're like, okay, we were working this. Like, if you're Amanda Nunes, I don't want to see the hips like ever on the ground, right? Like, I want to see you turning. The back is never flat. Like, we're trying to get up.
Well, I mean, I think if it gets there, you're almost too far down the rabbit hole to get out. You have to just hope to survive to the end of the round, truth be told. The bigger aspect for me is, can Amanda Nunes not be forced backwards? If she is not forced backwards, if Amanda Nunes can hold that center of the cage, Amanda wins this fight going away. But if Kayla Harrison starts moving her backwards and then eventually is going to get that cage cut off, it's academic. And so I'm saying it really is the way it is. But I'm telling you here first, everybody, if Amanda Nunes takes that center of that cage, like she did against Ronda Rousey, like she did against everybody else, if she takes that center of that cage, she's winning this fight.
You're 100% right. And, 2.5 years, though. It's been 2.5 years, right? Can she come in and establish her? Or does it take a little second to feel? I mean, obviously.
I think taking the center of the cage is here.
I agree. Oh, I agree. That's what I'm saying. Like, and does it take you a little bit to get back into that rhythm, to get back in that mindset, right? It's been a little easier. I've been at home, I've been the family girl. I've been playing mom. I've been doing the family, Now you got to flip back into warrior mentality of like, I got to go out there and be the GOAT that I am, the badass that I am. If she does that, it gets interesting really, really fast. It really does. If she's trying to out alpha Kayla Harrison, not necessarily an easy thing to do. I mean, Kayla Harrison is like the alpha dog in a room full of dudes in American Top Team. I mean, she runs the place, you know what I mean? But if she can go out there and have that mindset, I love it, man. It's a big, big fight. Huge, huge fight, man. I'm so fired up. And yeah, man, the break has been nice and all the time away has been good, but I love that we're going to get right back into T-Mobile Arena,
The break has not been nice. Like, I need me some more combat sports.
I need some combat.
Yeah. So here's the deal. That was kind of our breakdown for the Kayla Harrison Amanda Nunes fight. Coming up next week, we're going to be breaking down Justin Gaethje, Paddy Pimblett. I think O'Malley Song is a fantastic fight. But before we get out of here today, I just need to say I'm a little disappointed. John, I'm disappointed.
Let's hear. What has happened?
They have not put an interim title on the Waldo Cortes-Acosta Derrick Lewis fight yet. I'm disappointed I know that in the war room, they listen to the show. I know it. They've taken our advice more times than not, and they haven't this time. The heavyweight division needs it, John, for fun. It's nothing but fun. Put it on there, man. People are calling me crazy. I know it's crazy, but it's crazy in a fun way. Why say no when it's so fun to say yes?
I would love to see it happen. As I said with you last week, I'll say that I think it's a phenomenal idea. I do not see the UFC, but you know what? I am very much warming up on the fact that if Derrick Lewis wins this, you are doing a Derrick Lewis interim title fight against somebody at the White House, period. You just are. Like, it just lines up too perfect. Like, that is happening. And whether you want to say he deserves it or not, no one cares, right? Because no one is going to argue against Derrick Lewis fighting for a title.
And that's my point. Nobody cares today either, John. If you see Derrick Lewis is fighting for a title, people say, hell yeah, I'm watching. Because they're going to watch him anyways.
They're going to watch anyway.
Point. He's like, dude, that 5 rounds for the birds. I ain't doing 5 rounds.
He's like, can we just do a 3-round title fight? He's like, let's just do that. That's way better.
Remember that when he was going for his first title and they're like, you're up for a title. And I was like, nah, you can save that ish.
Yeah.
Like, I did 2 rounds, not 5. What are you trying to kill me?
I love that. He is the best, man. I'm so excited the UFC is gonna be back. I really do. Look, I do think that does have title implications, and not just for Waldo Cortes-Acosta. I mean, we say it kind of as a little bit of fun, but it just lays out too perfectly, right? I think it's going to happen. And as we said, the heavyweight division is still kind of a mess right now. You know what I mean? So I think that's an easy
no
fix
clarity from last week, John. It's still a mess. Not kind of.
None whatsoever. Did you see Khamzat Chimaev come out saying that he wants to compete against Alex Pereira at the White House? Got to be honest with you, man. And I like Khamzat Chimaev a lot. Who doesn't like Khamzat Chimaev? We love watching this guy go out there and smash people. The way he fights, the way he talks, it's amazing. Eric, man, I'm done with this jumping weight classes thing, dude. I'm just done. I need champions to stay in their divisions and rack up title defenses, man. That, to me, is really the sign of true greatness, man. Not just, and I don't want to say cherry picking, because you're not cherry picking when you say you want Alex Pereira on the opposite side of the cage. But I like the idea of looking at a weight class and seeing that you have, 5, 6, 7, 8 title defenses. That, to me, is greatness. And I don't know how we shift that mentality back. I don't know if Conor McGregor just completely broke the equation and it can never be reclaimed. It's got to be always that 2-belt look, which is a good look, I'll admit. But I miss the days of nobody in the division can beat that guy. The Anderson Silva, the George St. Pierre, the Demetrius Johnson, the John Jones are beating everybody in the division. So while I appreciate Khamzat with the call out, I appreciate him, what he's saying and what he's doing, and I like it. I'm just have to say, stay back, bro. Stay. Let's get some. I need to get rid of this jumping weight classes stuff, man.
I read it and I didn't even put it in my notes to bring up because the UFC will never do it, right? That's not a marketable fight. Like, it's right. 2 big names, but it's 2 big names that the styles clash.
Yes.
And so it's just, it's like, it just wouldn't happen. Like, the UFC isn't going to do that. They're not going to put either one of their stars in that position. It's just not going to happen. Like, I can tell you right now, if I was the CEO, if I was Dana White, if I was anybody, I'd be like, are you out of your mind? Like, why would we put either one of our stars in that position? But
I'm glad you're in that position because I saw that. And, I'm always kind of like, where there's smoke, there's fire. You know what I mean? Like, why is somebody bothering to go put this out there? They must feel like there's something there and they've got a little bit. But I agree with you, right? Because one of 2 things happens, right? Either A, Alex Pereira knocks out Khamzat Chimaev, and now your absolute star has been seen unconscious on the canvas. We don't want to see that. Or Khamzat just makes Alex Pereira look absolutely incapable of grappling whatsoever at all, and just makes him look silly, right? And manhandles him. And at that point, what is this? You know what I mean? So you're absolutely right. It's kind of like there's like a no-win situation, right? Like you lose one of your biggest stars, and I guess, to be honest with you, I guess that's why I don't really like this jumping around weight classes, because that's just what happens, right? Is now you got a champion that, are they really the champion? They didn't beat this guy. And I don't know. I want to see us get back to champions defending titles and racking up defenses and saying, man, I'm coming for that record. Like, I'm coming for the title defense record. That's what I want to see.
Yeah, why aren't you on Uncle Dana's payroll, man? You need to get on Uncle Dana's payroll to be having these meetings Tuesday in the war room. Hey, listen.
Jumping in there.
I'll jump on payroll too. That's cool.
This is what we're here for. This is what the people want. Listen to us. Let's make this happen. But
why are we, Uncle Dana? Why are we going to put any two of our stars in that position? Because we're not. You're listening to me now. We're on payroll. You're in the room.
We're not going to do that to our stars. I love that. Let's take some ownership of the roster, man. I'm excited, dude. I'm fired. I'm so far. Like you said, this delay is almost over. I can't wait to see Paramount air, man. Did you see? Was it Tracy Cortez and Brian Ortega were at the it was Mackenzie Dern, and Brian Ortega were at the Golden Globe Awards. So like stuff like that. Yeah. I guess they had them walking the red carpet and they were doing some content. Sunday night, yeah. So yeah, you're probably traveling,
flying over the Atlantic.
I didn't see the. Yeah, it was terrible. I know that private travel is tough. I know how that goes.
Every seat folded into a bed. It was actually pretty nice. I got a full night's sleep.
That's amazing, man. We got to take the charter over to Abu Dhabi for Fight Island. Like we still had to sit and coach, but everybody got their own row, and then we still got like the first class dining and all that. I was like, this is not that. Yeah, but so you didn't get to see. I'll be honest, I didn't watch the awards. I watched some NFL yesterday, and then I crashed out. But I saw the social media stuff. I think that's cool, man. I think that's the stuff. It's a silly thing just to be like, oh, they're trekking around stars in front of Hollywood, but that's a good thing for the sport, man. It's like
association.
That's it, man. You know what I mean? Like the ESPN would always take him to the ESPYs, and I'm not putting ESPN down. I mean, that was their big thing, and that's a big deal. But when you're talking about completely taking it outside of the sports world and just, letting those personalities get involved and getting, bringing eyeballs and bringing attention to it. I mean, I know that's a very indirect thing to help grow the sport.
Only two of the most beautiful people in the world.
I know, right? I know, right? I mean, I was thinking about that. I'm like, oh, look at their hand selected. I guess they both do live in LA, so that made it too. But I'm like, they didn't look too out of place walking the red carpet. You know what I mean? They look
up there, send them to Dagestan 2-3 years. Yeah. Forget about it.
Amazing, man. So I thought that was cool. Again, it's just these little things, but little things to monitor along the partnership. I don't think the product's going to look that different. I mean, maybe they'll debut some new graphics or whatever, but I think it'll look pretty familiar. It's all the same faces, all the people that we're used to. I mean, the UFC controls all their production, so I don't think we're going to see major changes. But I like seeing little things like that, man. I really do. I really am hopeful for this TV partnership, man. I really do think taking it from behind the paywall, man. We've talked about it. I don't know financially if it ends up being a plus for Paramount or not, but I love it for the sport. That's for sure.
Yeah, well, I'm here for it. You guys had my money at $74.90, in the 70s, and you definitely have my money with the subscription. Either way, I'm watching.
Go lock in your annual price.
Now my wife is just not as pissed at me.
Back-to-back numbered events to kick things off too, man. So now we're not calling them pay-per-views because they're not pay-per-views, so numbered events. So back-to-back numbered events to kick things off, man. I love it. And then we go back to the Apex. Got to see. One more thing I'll put on the list for this week too, or actually it's next week. But Zuffa boxing kicking off on Friday night at the Apex. So I'm anxious to see. Is all the construction done at the Apex? How do they set it up for boxing? Is that a little tease of how they're going to set it up for MMA? There's been a lot of construction going on over there. I haven't been in there in a little bit, so I'm kind of anxious to see a little bit of a quiet start for Zuffa boxing. I mean, only making the announcement like 2 weeks out, and they're really not talking about the whole card. It feels like kind of just little dip the toe in the water there, and just start lining this thing out. But something to pay attention to next Friday night, Zuffa boxing, also on Paramount Plus. So if you don't have Paramount Plus,
one thing I think can energize life into boxing, I don't really need a response to this, but I just want to say it, is that I think with Zuffa running, it's going to be run a show is going to a lot more streaming and efficient, where you're not having to wait like an hour in between fights and all this stuff, which I think is going to be great because they got it dialed in.
Yeah. The Canelo Crawford pacing was as big of an event that was. It was rough pacing.
I mean, even the Jake Paul, Anthony Joshua.
Yep.
Horrible pacing.
Nobody wants that long, man. It was keep the fights going. Keep the fights going.
I need 2 analyst preview. I don't need 17. Stop it.
It's a bit much.
It's a bit much. Now, the last thing I want to talk about, we only have a couple minutes. TKO Endeavor owns WWE, owns UFC. UFC leaves ESPN, goes to Paramount Plus for buco dollars. But the same company who owns WWE slides into ESPN there. I'd always been looking at it from a standpoint of, they took the ESPN, the UFC stuff down. They're all like, wow, we're not promoting that out in the old. But the same company swoops right in and almost replaces it, but almost at a higher price point, by the way. But now with no pay-per-views, so it might work out in a wash in the end. I don't know. It just dawned on me this week, and I had never really thought about it that way. But then now with this new added plus for even the WWE on ESPN, it's like a $30 a month subscription for that ESPN plus, however we want to describe it. Have you given any thought to like where the relationship is with the UFC, TKO? Obviously, it's great with WWE because they're making a lot of money together. It's just ironic, interesting, food for thought.
No, it is very interesting. I am, by the way, paying the $30 a month for ESPN Plus. I don't know how many people out there are. It is. I mean, look, I'm in the sports business. Like, I got to have it, but it's for just the average consumer. That's a lot of money for one channel, man. Now you package it with Disney and Hulu. Maybe it ends up being a little more poppable, but it's a steep price. But it is interesting. I mean, from a TKO standpoint, can you imagine that? Like, you lost this property and you really heard about it. You need something to replace it. Well, guess what? We got another alternative here for it. So now they're getting paid. I mean, brilliant what they've been able to do, structuring that whole company together. It's absolutely awesome. As far as how ESPN feels, I'm really interested to see because, we talked about, to me, I'm really interested to see what happens with the PFL, right? I mean, they're making a lot of changes right now and they're on ESPN. That to me is going to be real telling on this year because right now PFL is on ESPN, but they're on that ESPN plus what I don't even know what you call flagship, whatever you call it, where you have to pay $30 a month. And that used to be the big deal, right? Is that like, hey, if I'm on ESPN, obviously those 4 letters ESPN mean a lot, but it was just the fact that like everybody's got ESPN and everybody probably turns it on in the background. And so if you got it, man, that's a huge win. But if you're on the plus category only, where you're that third, I don't know. So I'm interested to see what they feel about MMA as a whole this year, because I think if ESPN wants to really help prop up PFL, they can. PFL has some great athletes. They have some great fighters. They have some great events, man. They've been crushing it. But if they don't choose to feature it, it could easily just get kind of buried away a little bit. So it's worth paying attention to this year to see what that does.
Yeah, and the only reason I brought all this up because I never thought about the relationship with TKO ESPN. They took one and replaced it. So I was always thinking they're mad with the ESPN. They got to be upset with the UFC and the model and then this, that, and the other. But TKO was like, we're good. Here.
My God, we got something else you can spend billions of dollars on. Don't worry, bro. We'll still take your money. We still got it. It's crazy what they've been able to put together, man. Billions. It's crazy what they put together. Unbelievable.
All right, so what you got going on this weekend?
Waiting out this last week, man. This is the last week of patience. Waiting out this last week. Then we get back to the UFC schedule next week. So I'm just trying to get through these 7 days, man. And then we get back to business. Then the CFFC schedule is going to get real busy as well. So 2026 will be in full swing. So I guess it's kind of that last patient week for us here in the United States, sir. Here just living this normal life over here, not globe trotting around Europe, staying at the fine hotels and taking the private jets.
Fine hotels. The team and the brass for the Grizzlies are at the Waldorf Astoria.
Oh, they didn't get. You're not there.
I'm at the Holiday Inn Express, homie.
I thought you were getting the Waldorf Astoria treatment, bro. I thought
the NBA. It's like the NBA put us here. It's now honestly, it's a tremendously nice Holiday Inn Express. I'll give that. But it's right across the street from the arena where I have to go check in every day.
That's
where the
awesome.
Waldorf is. But it's like Waldorf Astoria, Holiday Inn Express.
Like guys, I don't want to ruin the private. The fans will be all over me. Let's put me in a different property. Otherwise, you guys aren't going to get the rest and relaxation you need. So, Eric, my man, taking one for the team. I'll stay over here at the Holiday Inn Express so that you guys don't just get bombarded with my fans and that sort of thing bothering you as you enter the lobby.
It's the honorable thing to do. You know what
it's the right thing to do, man.
I always tell my son, honor is doing what's right even when nobody's looking. So
that's the sacrifice that you make. I love it, man. Well, glad you're over there. I know it's been a whirlwind schedule, but hopefully you can take it all in. I will say that's probably one thing that I regret sometimes in all my global travels that I have for the UFC is covering the UFC, I should say, is that I didn't always take time. Because I immerse, you know me, man. I'm a hard worker. I immerse myself in work. But there are times I wish, man, you know what, man? Take an hour and go stroll for a second or go get you a coffee or whatever and soak it all in. Because it is.
I found the jiu-jitsu
cool.
gym tomorrow morning. Tomorrow morning, I'm going to go take the morning class at a jiu-jitsu gym out here in Berlin. So, yeah.
That's cool. Super cool. Don't go smash anybody over there, all right?
Go to Dagestan 2-3 months, forget.
Play nice.
All right, well, with that being said, this was a fun episode. Real American Freestyle. Everybody check it out. Amanda Nunes, Kayla Harrison might be a little more difficult than everybody thinks. We will break down UFC 324 next week. I'm excited for it. John's excited for it. I hope all you guys are. For John, I'm Eric. Enjoy the fights.